Okay, welcome back to V-League Weekly with Bill George and myself, Eamon Hanker. We're going to take a look at week 9 now. That was the week just past. I went up to Namding, up or down, across. I went to Namding, Bill, for their match against Kwangnam, the bottom of the table clash. And that was the second of my 2 stadium visits on my big Northern Stadium tour. I think we'd be hard pushed to find a stadium with a better location. There's this big, beautiful lake surrounded by coffee shops, very peaceful. And then you've got this rocking stadium that just comes alive for the home games right next to the lake. And I released this really terrible video on the Facebook group where I sort of, you may have seen it. I was panning my phone across the stadium. You've got the fans, you've got the lights and everything. And then quick 180 turn, and then there's the lake behind the stadium, which is beautiful. So that was nice. Brilliant atmosphere. Nice. Really nice. Yeah, you've been there before, haven't you? It's lovely.
I have, yeah. If you actually, you can often get a great photo across that lake, and the whole stadium then reflects into the lake perfectly as well.
That is, once I get my new phone, I'll with a better camera, I'll get a shot of that. But yeah, lovely, amazing atmosphere. I stood up for the 90 minutes because I went to the top of the stand, and I thought there's this ledge you can climb onto and you can stand up. So it's like being back in the 80s, like in the stands. Unfortunately, about 100 other middle-aged men had the same idea. So I didn't get to see much of the football, funnily enough. I was getting blocked. I was craning my neck to see the game. But I saw enough of the game to enjoy the football. Amazing atmosphere. As you said a couple of weeks ago, noisy, really, really noisy right from the start. And it's not as if Kwangnam sort of local rivals either. So I'm getting the impression this is how it is every week every home match for Namding. And I think they've won their last 2 home games now. So it's really having an effect on them. Footballing wise, I thought Namding were very good. They were definitely the better team. I've mentioned Lee Si-ming a few times before on the pod. He was really good. A lot of the attacks were coming through him. Nguyen Ha Long, who, according to Soccerway, he's a defender, but he was very much involved in playing more of a sort of attacking midfield role. Was Man Kuong playing sort of as just going from what I could see on the day, kind of a sort of wing back sort of role. Bringing the ball out of defence and sort of creating attacks from there as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 goals in 3 for Agbaji. And I got his name right this time.
That is correct, yes.
Yes. Hallelujah. So now they've got a defender scoring. Now they've got goals coming not just from the front 2, but they've got defenders coming and scoring goals. So things are looking good for Namding. They were still quite wasteful. It could have been 3 or 4-0. By the way, if you get a chance, I don't know if anyone's seen the highlights yet, but about halfway through the first half, Rafaelson with an audacious chip from almost the halfway line, from a throw. It was a half volley from the throw. The ball was thrown to him on a half volley, tries to lob the keeper, almost scores. It would have been a peach of a goal if he'd done that, but good for Namding. My only concern for them is, can they string results together? Because they really start. They need to now. You've got Haiphong are struggling around them. Kwangnam are below them, so they leapt about 3 places in the league by winning that game. But
yeah, it's very close. Yeah, very close.
Yeah, they got Saigon next, and also Namding struggle away from home, so that might be a bit of a tough challenge for them. But let's see how that goes. But a wonderful day out.
What about,
really wonderful?
It's good. It's like I said, it's the noisiest ground I've ever been to in Vietnam. But Kwangnam, there's been a lot of talk about referees. Kebe, striker, he posted it on his Facebook. He was calling out the referees on his Facebook with the clip. Have you seen the replay of the penalty that wasn't a penalty?
I've not yet. No, I've not gone back and seen that. But what did he say?
Just saying, like, this quality of refs, like, how can anyone develop when nothing, like, it's going to affect young players when these clear decisions aren't being given? And it was a pen. Like, he was sort of sandwiched between 2, but not just a sandwich where sort of shoulder barged in, but he was completely taken out by the guy on the right. And he kind of, and I think it's the second week that Kwangnam are feeling hard done by when they were away up I want to say Kwangning the week before, like things were going against them, or sorry, home against them. So, but it tends to happen when you're at the bottom. But the refs keep making their headlines in some games here.
They do, yeah, exactly. I think we'd be talking every week about refs, but I think Guangnam have a lot more to worry about than the refs, because I think it was a pretty abject performance from them, and he's got a point, but this kind of happens every week, doesn't it? There's always a decision to talk about here and there.
This is what he said. This is where he goes, look, I'm not saying this cost us the game. We may have lost anyway, but because it happens all the time. It's just happening too often in too many games, I think is what the point was that he was making as well. But yeah,
he's right.
It was a bad one, but that's good. It was a big crowd. I read it was 18,000 down for that.
It was only 2 away from my estimation, because I did a bit of maths. So the capacity is 30,000, and I looked around and I thought pretty much the stadium was both of the big stands were completely full, and then even behind the goals there are a lot of fans. So I estimated 20,000, and I was 2,000 out. So that's not too bad.
You could nearly have a job at the VFF doing the attendances, because they often just guess and estimate anyway. So
Namding were quite strict about who. There was definitely no one like getting in unaccounted for. Like there was a very high security presence there. So I'm pretty sure that's an accurate assessment. Same with Viettel v Haiphong. There were security checkpoints all around that match. We'll get into that later. Strange, very strange. But you're in Danang, Bill, and I am a little bit jealous. Even though I was there a few weeks ago. You took some cracking photos of that match. How was that for you?
I'm still, man. Still struggling with Hanoi, to be honest. It's great. I've never been in that stadium when it's full like that. That was pretty much full at 15,000. There was a good over 100 Hanoi fans. There was 3 bus loads went down.
Nice, good.
100, 150. So that was great. They took the bus, all of it, overnight bus travel, a lot of them. It's a good 18-hour journey, that is. The match itself, it was a bit flat. I thought I was quite impressed with Tanda in the first half for Danang. He looks quite lively, and then Hadok Ching as well. There wasn't a great deal of opportunities for either teams, really. It's just sort of cancelling each other out a bit. Hanoi took the lead, and I was a bit like, they'd do probably a bit more possession, but I thought Danang were more dangerous. Hung Zung tapped in to put Hanoi in the lead, but then Van Long, who was really good throughout, I thought he headed in an equaliser just before the break for Danang. Terrible! It wasn't marked. Like cross ended up at the back post. He was at the back post, and Jelic, I think it's the centre back, was just behind him anyway. So if he'd have missed it, he'd have tapped it in. There was another free man in the centre. The marking was awful from Hanoi on that. Hanoi now they seem to be quite a small team, so they're quite vulnerable at set pieces at the moment. It seems to be like both the centre halves are out. Omar Faye is out. They had a fair bit of height, so they're a bit vulnerable on the set pieces. Again, second half, Hanoi just a good bit of possession. Like I said, Van Kuet just worked and worked and worked, but he seems to be doing the work of like 2 or 3 creative players, and then sometimes you just love him to be in the middle, to be having a go at goal. They're putting in blind crosses, just lacking ideas to sort of pass it around, play. Like we said before, they're still just sort of like they need to change something up. Romario is very quiet. When Romario's on form, he's really good, but other times he's quite quiet. But again, I think he's a bit isolated on his own as the main sort of striker. But Danang should have won it. Van Long was running down the left, a great turn, crossed it in across the goal, and Tang Hai, how he missed it. I wouldn't say it was a sitter, but he sort of slid into place. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's one of the highlights.
You kind of like, it's so agonising. The roar that went up when that cross went in the stadium was so loud, and then the little cheer from the Hanoi fans when they realised it hadn't gone in was great. But well, they should have won that. That was just on that chance alone. But it's good. Like the Danang is a football-specific stadium, purpose-built stadium. So there's no running track, super close. Got some old-style fences they put up now, sort of Millwall style. Nice. All the way around. It's like, wow, they're new. So But yeah, it's, like I said, full house. And you mentioned sausages at Hai Phong, but the best banh mi's are in Danang, no doubt about it. They used to be at their old stadium, and then I think I'm sure all the people have moved all the way out there for the new stadium, but just in general, Danang has really good sandwiches.
So next year's tour will be the food tour. That'll be the stadium tour, but based on food. Don't even have to go in and watch the matches. Just have the food outside. That'll be the assessment of the stadium.
Exactly. But you mentioned about what's Hanoi's excuse. I think a lot of it, 6 or 7 of the starters against Danang would not have started last season. So that's the injury crisis in there at the moment. Plus they lost last year. They got Saini's left, Samson left halfway through. There's goals. Those two are goal machines basically. Omar Faye's injured. He hit 15 last year. So interesting. Here's my stat of the week. Last year, after 9 games, Hanoi had scored 12 goals. This year, after 9 games, Hanoi have scored 13, and we're saying that offensively they're very bad.
Scored more this year. That's interesting.
They've scored a goal more, but last year they went on to score 60 goals in 26 games. So if they get these players back, they just score for fun. It doesn't matter if they concede 1 or 2, but yeah. So interestingly, they've scored more than last year. But anyway, moving on. I think.
Who have they got next this coming weekend?
Hai Phong tomorrow.
That's Hai Phong, isn't it?
Hai Phong, Friday.
It's a big game, of course. Well, that's 3 points for Hanoi, I'd imagine.
Should be, but derbies, you never know. Like you said, there's going to be a very noisy Hai Phong contingent there. 500 police are going to be on duty. It's a big police operation. They're a bit worried about players getting in again and the match being delayed and things. So, but you never know with a derby. You never know. See, Spurs even beat Arsenal the other day. Who'd have thought about that?
Oh, I've not even mentioned that to you, Bill. I'm that nice. I'm that focused on our podcast. But yeah.
But yeah, Hanoi, they should beat Hai Phong. But like I said, you never really know. Big atmosphere.
Yeah, I feel that once Hanoi get their players back, but I don't think it'll be this season. But I think, time is of the essence now, isn't it? We're moving on. I think we're only 4 rounds away from the 4 or 5 rounds away from the break off. So what Hanoi need to do is get into that top championship rounds. They're not there at the moment, and they need to get into that first. I think that's the priority, and then see what happens.
Certainly indeed.
But there might be a team from Hanoi challenging for the title, Bill. But it just wouldn't be Hanoi. I watched Viettel on, when was it? Saturday night? I can't remember now. The days all blend into each other. 4-0 against a very poor Hai Phong side. But my goodness, that's one of the best performances I've seen this season as a team performance. Viettel are looking really good. They really are. Oh, and the goals. Have you seen the goals?
I have. The free kick was nice. Bruno's was amazing.
Goodness me. Yeah, that was the substitute, Vu Minh Tuan, with the free kick.
Yeah.
I was stood just at the perfect angle for that as well. But I think the best goal of the bunch was Kai Kui's goal because of the build-up as well. So you had Van Gaal, who had a brilliant game. Don't know why he got taken off, maybe injured. He got taken off just after half-time, I think. But he actually lost the ball, Van Gaal, then he won it back, beat 2 players, gave the ball to Cagniot with a pinpoint through ball to Kai Kui and that little dinked finish. That was the pick of the bunch for me. And then Bruno, oh my goodness, see that goal. Well, I was watching that. Strike. Oh, lovely strike. And actually, the way he brought the ball down and then bang, fantastic. So, great team performance. Viettel now up to 3rd. My only concern with Viettel is, can they do it against bigger teams? Because their 2 best performances this season were against Quang Nam. And that was when Quang Nam's, that was their final match with their old manager. So that was, a pretty straightforward win for Viettel, 3-0, I think. And then last week against Hai Phong. If they can start, the next 2 or 3 games will be crucial for Viettel. So, if they can string some wins together, start breathing down the necks of the Southern boys, because it's turning into a very much a, got Ho Chi Minh City and Saigon there at the top. Who knows with Viettel? Do you think they've got enough? Or maybe
No. I don't accept the Viettel title contenders. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. This if Viettel end up those title contenders, this is one of the weakest V-League seasons we've had in a while. Like these teams keep beating each other. It's not because everyone's got better. Like I mean, everyone's just sort of everyone's got they haven't raised the standard and all got as good as Hanoi, and that's like Hanoi were last year. I'm not having because I've seen Viettel times and they were awful at the beginning of the like when they lost to Thanh Hoa. We were not a team that wins the league.
Yeah, we were there for that match against Thanh Hoa. One thing I would also say is, and again, I know it's a local rival, but the atmosphere against Thanh Hoa was a bit subdued as well. Totally different last week. I think offering free tickets is probably helping as well, bringing in a few more fans. But there's a really good atmosphere last week as well. And when they're playing football as good as that, the fans will keep coming. So no, I mean, I don't think they'll win the league, but I think they're in the conversation. I mean, they're in the top 3 at the moment, and who knows?
They've got a lot of good players. There's a lot of players that I like, but I just don't see them as a good enough team to win the league. But this is like this year, everything's so inconsistent. Viettel's last 3, lost, drawn, won. Ho Chi Minh's last 3, 1 lost, drawn. Like, come on. And then to think Saigon, okay, they've won 3 on the bounce now, but to think Saigon are the best team going into this, towards the end of this phase 1 of the thing, it's quite an interesting season.
It was even more congested a few weeks ago. I mean, now Saigon, best defense as well. I mean, they are becoming the breakaway team. They also beat Ho Chi Minh City as well. So if there was any team you'd say it was a favourite at the moment, it'd be Saigon. But I don't know. That's what makes it so exciting. You just don't know what's going to happen from one week to the next. I say it every week, but it's true, you know.
Indeed. And interesting, next week, so Ho Chi Minh City are away at Ha Tinh, who just keep drawing, and they've ended up, they found themselves second bottom now, Ha Tinh, all these draws. But Ho Chi Minh going into this game, they're going to be without Bolde up front, without Diakite at the back, and without Hu Tuan, all suspended because of yellow cards. So that's a weakened Ho Chi Minh City side going into that. So it'll be a good result if they can get a win there.
If they can get a win there, but then if they don't get the win there, you have to fancy Saigon against Nam Ding, as well as Nam Ding played last week. And if that were to be the case, potentially 4, 5, 6 point gap at the top, then you'd really be looking at Saigon as favourites.
Awesome.
But let's see. And of course,
and then now the code Park Hang-seo has been watching Saigon play recently, and the Saigon coach is now calling out saying 4 players that should be in the national team, which is interesting because Hang-seo seems to have his core favourites for the national team, but you can't ignore these players if they're playing so well that they're sort of getting themselves a little bit clear at the top of the league. So.
Which players? Can you remember offhand which players, or 1 or 2 of them? Because
Puklong, the captain, the fullback, the captain, the guy that I said to you was a bit feisty, a bit dirty when he was at Hanoi all those years ago.
Yeah,
he might be in. They're trying to get him in line for a return. But I think he hasn't played for the national team since like 2013 or something. So, but I can't remember. So I'd have to find the article and find out who they were. But all good for Saigon at the moment.
All good. And Hanoi Haiphong this coming Friday. Have to get tickets for that in advance, as you said to me off air, because it's going to be that big a game. Do you think security? I mean, it's a bit of a concern, isn't it? I've seen Haiphong twice this season. I've not seen any sign of difficult fans, or they were quite boisterous against Viettel last weekend. But I guess because it's against Hanoi, this is the big northern rivalry. So I guess it's different.
They'll do it. They'll get flares in somehow. They always do. I don't remember a game at Hang Day where they haven't got flares in. Even when they played a meeting once, flares game post delayed and things. If they do it, they never have flares at their own ground because you get fined if you have them in your own ground. Do it someone else's, and then the home team gets fined. So it'll be boisterous. It'll be a good atmosphere. But it'll be good. Big crowd, lots of police there. So they're actually doing it so the Haiphong fans have to enter on one street and Hanoi fans have to go down another street to enter on that side. They're really putting a lot of separation there. But this is probably all done by Hanoi because they got fined for not having enough security last year when the Nam Ding fan sent that firework across the pitch. So they're just going, okay, this is what we're going to have to do then and putting it in place. They can't be seen to not do much. So they'll still get flares in, I imagine. But I've never seen any trouble between fans at these matches. So
no. The first B-League match I ever went to was Hanoi versus Haiphong, actually, and I think you were there. And Hanoi, I think they won it maybe 2-0. I think it was the first game of the season, maybe 2 seasons ago. And there were flares, but they were just like the Haiphong fans were throwing flares onto the pitch. There wasn't a huge threat to human safety unless they were going to hit their own fans, and the game got stopped. I'm all for heightened security. I mean, the Premier League, the major leagues of the world have it every week, and people forget that without that security, there's always that chance for chaos. So, but footballing wise, having seen Haiphong in their last 2 games now, I'm pretty sure, I know it's a local rivalry, but if Hanoi can stay focused and do their thing, I think that's 3 points for Hanoi. It should be. I think Haiphong are in big trouble.
Should be, yes.
Footballing wise, definitely.
I'm actually going to be missing my first Hanoi Haiphong derby in a long time.
All right.
I'm on a bit of a southern tour. I've got to head down to Ho Chi Minh City on Friday, but I'm going to go straight off the plane and go up to Vung Tau, Bazia, and watch Bazia Vung Tau play against Kanto in V-League 2. New stadium for me, so I'm quite excited to get there. Awesome. But it will mean I'll be missing the Hanoi Haiphong game. So, but yeah.
Well, we can talk a bit about V-League 2 on the next pod then, because we keep promising to. I haven't been catching up with the highlights as much as I should have. I wouldn't mind going to see Thorien again actually quite soon. They had a bit of a strangulation incident the other week. One of the coaches strangled a player, which sounds interesting.
Yeah, former player who grabbed him. I think it was on a throw-in or something. He grabbed him around the neck or something, trying to stop him take the throw. It looked like, but there was a clip going around later after the game. They embraced or something, but he's been banned 2 matches, I think, and fined for that. So
well, it's only strangulation.
It was reported in an English language news outlet. I can't remember which it was, and it was like strangulation in Vietnamese football. So what? It's a bit dramatic.
Well, I'm gonna slaughter the pronunciation now, but is it Che Tui or one of them, the news outlets called it? It happened because of impatience. They said because of impatience, there was a strangulation went on and I was thinking, darned impatience. Oh, that's what happens when people get impatient. They start strangling people. It's just the natural reaction, really.
That's that.
Yeah. Anyway, or have fun at those games, Bill. That sounds brilliant. Little southern tour. I'm not going away anywhere now until Shanghai.
I'm actually going to get. Yeah, on Saturday as well. I should get to a 3rd division game. Zading and the Hanoi Ho Chi Minh City youth team. I've got my eye, and that's in the capital as well. That I might be able to get to.
Good stuff. It's good life.
That's proper lower league football. Should be fun.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Well, shall we call it a day on this, and then I'll work out how to get this sent out to our lovely viewers and listeners. And I guess we'll probably have to do one more of these on Zoom next week. You're back in Hanoi middle of next week, so
yeah, we can get that going again.
Good stuff. Nice. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for watching, listening. Thank you, Bill, as well. Enjoy the games. And we'll talk to you next week. Right. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.